In her eyes, the world outside, a sweet surprise. No doubts, no chains, no holding back. She steps into the light, nothing she'll lack. Every mirror shows her grace. Every step she claims her space. She's unstoppable, she's alive. Feeling the power, ready to thrive. Every heartbeat, every move she makes. She's taking the world, there's no mistake. She's confident, she's free. She's exactly who she's meant to be. Her laughter rings a fearless sound. No limits here, no battleground. She knows her worth, she knows her mind. In every challenge she'll always find a spark away, a shining key, unlocking strength inside of me. She's unstoppable, she's alive, feeling the power, ready to thrive. Every heartbeat, every move she makes, she's taking the world, there's no mistake. She's confident, she's free, she's exactly who she's meant to be. She walks in rhythm, she owns the street. Every glance, every step of feet. No apologies, no looking back. Her energy leaves a glowing track. She's fire, she's great, she's melody. The world bows down to her energy. She's unstoppable, she's alive, feeling the power, ready to thrive.
Trying to mute it. Hello, everybody. Today is March 24th, 2026. I hope you enjoyed that song. It is called She's Unstoppable by Flourishing Melodies. I just found it today on YouTube as I was exploring music. Music gets popped up as a suggestion, so I check it out and I like it and I add it to my playlist, and there you have it. I have tons of music saved on YouTube, so it's a great way to learn new artists that are out there and great music. So that's a really powerful song that I thought I'd let you listen to while we gather together today. So thank you for being here. This is the final day, final day. I promise you, the final day of reading from my book, Dragonflies and Demons. We have been doing this, I have been doing this since August 9th, 2025. And today we are ending March 24th, 2026. So almost a full year, but it's been wonderful. It's been so wonderful. So I'm going to read the comments and the safe space parameters in the comments section, and then I'll begin. Welcome to my podcast, Dragonfly Discussions. You're welcome to enter your name and location you're from. I am thrilled you are listening, and I hope you enjoyed this session together. Safe space reminder, please use your own safe space parameters amongst the sessions together, which may arouse emotions or memories of your own. You're welcome to excuse yourself or stay. So I changed it up a little bit, because it was emotions around the chapters. And hang on just one second. When the neighbors turn on their air conditioner, there's a noise that occurs in my sink. So what I do to stop it is I plug it with a sink stopper. So I didn't want that noise interfering with today. Okay, so we're going to begin. We are on page 267, the final chapter, chapter 7. And this is when I'm now, lost my dad. I'm grieving. I am confused. I'm been through hell and back. And all I wanted to do was come home and be with my dad. The last thing I thought was that my dad was going to be dying of brain cancer. So it was a huge, huge thing. I also, went through a Christian rehab that taught you to pray, pray, pray incessantly and believe and trust that they're going to raise them and heal them and miracles are going to happen and God will save them, and God has saved others and rose Lazarus from the grave and, cured people of horrible diseases. I mean, so why not fix my dad, right? Why not save my dad? So that didn't happen. If you listen to other podcasts, that didn't happen. My dad passed away, and he was everything to me. Everything, everything, everything to me. And losing him was hard. It sucked. It rocked my whole entire faith. And I went through a lot of the stages of grief. And I read a lot of other books, and I went through counseling and therapy. And I was real stuck in the anger stage for a long time. So this is where I'm at in my life. We're now 2020, and my dad passed away in 2007. So we're now, it's been some time, but still healing comes at your own pace. Grief and loss, you just do it at your own pace. And if anybody puts expectations on you to hurry, well, that's on them, but you do what you need to do for yourself to heal. So here we are, baby steps, subchapter. Grief is an interesting and ever-evolving emotional process. Ever evolving. That is a key word I put in there on purpose because it is, you live with that grief. That is a relationship that you have with that pain, and it is ever evolving. It is ups and downs, just like you have your ups and downs with a person, your partner. So do you have the same relationship with grief. I believe some of the 7 stages of grief are lifelong and never cease. That's true. The stages of grief are 1, they say it goes in order, but I don't know. I've bounced all over and still bounce all over. Not really so much the first stage, shock and denial. Shock and denial was there. I do recall experiencing that, but it's not there anymore. Pain and guilt. I went through a lot of guilt. Had to process some guilt because I felt like it was my fault that he fell, ultimately leading to an infection in his body that he didn't need to get, being a cancer patient. Number 3, anger and bargaining. I never really bargained, but anger. Boy, did I get into the angry stage. Number 4 is depression. Didn't get into that too much. I mean, I have my down days and I cry and I allow myself to feel those depressing, sad moments, but I don't stay there. Then number 5 is the upward turn, where you're kind of like breathing again and living again and finding purpose in your life and finding purpose in their death, is how I define it. Number 6, reconstruction and working through. So that is, I think that starts from day 1. I think you immediately have to learn how to reconstruct your life without this person in your life. That meant so much to you. So you have to reconstruct everything from the moment they are gone. The working through is, again, I think that's a lifelong thing. I don't think it's a stage 7 or 6. I think it's also a lifelong with living with this grief. Number 7, acceptance and hope. That's where I'm at now. And again, my dad passed away in 2007. So that's where I'm at now. I'm not really caught up in all the other things, but I am really acceptance of the fact that I feel like my dad is still really with me. I mean, just the other night, 2 nights ago, he was talking to me in my dream, and I woke up with this feeling, and it was, you need to get to work. You need to get to work. And I had a long weekend on a book tour, and I didn't want to go to work on Monday. I was like, I don't want to go to work. But my dad in my dream, I had the same feeling in my dream. My dad was like, get to work. You're going to work. And so I woke up and I went to work yesterday. But my dad is still very much with me. And I think once you get to the acceptance and hope part, you can see those things. You can see how you are because of somebody in your life that you lost, develop that in you, or a memory of you two together, or a song or a smell or a neighborhood. Like, that is just the acceptance part, that they're with you but they're not with you. But and the hope is just making them proud. Honestly, to me, it's trying to make my dad proud of my decisions and my life after his death, because I know that really worried him a lot about what would happen to me. So, page 268, I am now into the 13th year of my father's death, which that's old because this is 2020. So my dad passed in 2007. So what, 19 years ago? 19 years ago. So I'm now into the 19th year. But when this book was written, it was the 13th year. Shock, denial, and bargaining are gone. I do still have a lot of pain and guilt and anger, just like I told you. The depression comes and goes, and I am still trying to find the upward turn. Not really. I mean, I've got that now. Back then, yes, I was struggling, but I've got that now. I feel as though I am in constant reconstruction and working through stages, just like I said. The pain of losing a parent is no easier or worse than losing a child, a spouse, or a friend. It is no easier. A great loss is a great loss on all levels to somebody you have loved dearly the majority of your life. So there's no competition here, okay? We're all in the same with our loss for somebody we loved. The pain I have in my heart is a longing to have my father back. And I think that's what we all is longing for again, is being with them again. My dad and I were so close, and he could talk to me like no one else. The guilt I carry is because I still blame myself for a lot of things that happened. That means the things I put him through my addiction, such as becoming a drug addict and causing him so much pain. However, I will continue to seek my upward turn, continue to reconstruct my life, and work through the constant emotions, which again, I feel like I've accomplished a lot since writing this book, and I'm still going to accomplish more. I mean, it's just something you have to learn to live with, is death and grief. I know that I am not alone. I have God still with me, who helps me accept my father's death. God helps me find hope and possibility in the future every single day. Yes, God still does today. And this is a quote from a book that I read not too long after my father passed. I can't remember when, but it's a really good book, and I'll quote it at the end. This is a quote. Happiness is a choice, not a result. Nothing will make you happy until you choose to be happy. No person will make you happy unless you decide to be happy. Your happiness will not come to you. It can only come from you. And this is the book, Happiness is a Serious Problem by Dennis Prager. That's pretty important, right? Nobody is going to be able to bring that happiness back. It is not anybody's responsibility to help you bounce back from such a grief. You have to figure it out, pull through the wrenches of grief, and find happiness again. Find happiness. And what was interesting is my dad even said, please do not stop being happy, living, finding joyous things about your life after he was gone. He wanted us, that was really important to him, was he was like, please do not just throw your life away or grieve for the rest of your life. Like, move on. A few of my favorite books are The Secret. You know, The Secret by Rhonda Byrne, I believe, and other mentioned people. Battlefield of the Mind by Joyce Myers. I read that book in rehab. Purpose Driven Life. Can't remember the author of that one, but I also read that one during rehab, and it has a journal, which is really cool. Happiness is a Serious Problem, and portions of the Bible. So for 2 years of my last rehab, we had to only study the Bible. We had to memorize scriptures over 100 words long. I still have my little flip book of a scripture that is like, I think it's 107 words long, King James, and I had to write that shit out on paper in the classroom. And so some still ring a bell, some don't, but I was really proud of myself for learning, and I really appreciated learning about the Bible. It was really unfortunate because I was like, dang, I was raised Catholic. I went to Catholic school for like 12 years, grade school all the way up to high school, end of high school, and I never studied the Bible. Like, wouldn't you think that we would study the Bible at least a little bit? I mean, the most I got of any kind of religion was world religions in high school. I think it was freshman or sophomore year. Was it Sister Mary Kathleen? I think she led it because it was a Catholic high school. But that blew my mind about religion. So I never really, I knew of the Bible. I knew it was something you put your hand on. I knew it was something that's put over you. I knew it was just this big book. Until my last rehab. And I'm grateful because there's a lot of really good wisdom in there. A lot of good wisdom in that book. So here we are, pointing out portions of the Bible. So portions such as Genesis, I loved reading Genesis. Proverbs is all about wisdom. Revelations is really cool. I didn't get too far deep into Revelations. Psalms is also really a bunch of poetic, just kind of writing. The Gospels are cool. It's really interesting how they're all different. Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John all have their different perspectives of their walk with Jesus. And essentially, you know, the Bible was written by man. So I don't get caught up too much in it. There's scripture that says that Jesus did not want to be idolatized. So I don't idolatrize Jesus. I go straight to God. My tagline is, you need to go vertically straight to God. You don't need to go through Jesus to get to God. He was a cool dude for social justice and love and everything, but not to be worshipped. So that leads us to the next season of Dragonfly discussions, but we'll continue. So this is me and my dad. We would often be sitting on the couch together, or he would be helping me in a dream somehow. So this is him coming back in my life after he's been passed. And like I said, he still comes to me in dreams. I have felt his embrace, seen his smile, and heard his laughter in my dreams. Yep, I have heard his laughter and smelled his cologne. It's crazy. I believe that throughout my entire life, I have been able to receive and see into the spiritual realm a little deeper than others. And I do. I feel like I have a higher ability to see beyond like what's in front of you, like to see the meaning or see like the pattern or just meaning behind things. I mean, yeah, I've been given messages through random things, and you just know to listen to it. Um, I have had a higher knowledge of the spirit world than others and have been able to see things beyond the known. I have always known there is something bigger than myself in this universe. Throughout my life, I have always spoken to this entity, built a relationship with it. I have always felt like there was something greater than myself protecting me. Now I understand it was God and all along walking alongside me. So I really feel this really strong connection to something greater than me, higher than me, around me. Say God. So this is a poem that we all know, the Footprints poem. Lord, you said that once I decided to follow you, you'd walk with me all the way. But I have noticed that during the most burdensome times in my life, there is only one set of footprints. I don't understand why, when I needed you the most, you would leave me. The Lord replied, my dear child, I love you and I would never leave you. During the times of trial and suffering, when you see only one set of footprints in the sand, it was then that I carried you. Isn't that beautiful to imagine? Like God carrying us in our times, and there's only one set of footprints. Like that's so loving. Like that makes me feel not alone. That right there makes me feel not alone. And I don't have a lot of family. I don't have a whole lot of friends. I'm single. I just have my cats. I live pretty alone, but I don't feel alone. I don't feel alone. People can say, "Oh, she's a loner," but I like it. I really like it. So, throughout the year of 2020 into the beginning of the year 2021, I volunteered on a few Unitarian Universalist church committees. I got involved in the Pledge Drive Committee, Church Photo Directory Committee, and the Adult Religious Exploration Committee. I also completed a couple of courses the church also offered that I decided to put myself through in 2020. I attended the History of UU course and the Power of Forgiveness course, which was a 5-week commitment. This course truly opened my eyes and heart to a lot of areas I still need to work through regarding forgiveness. I think forgiveness is ever evolving in one's life. Getting involved with the church was something even I never saw coming. No, you would have never told me I was going to get this involved in a church. Um, but it has been the best decision to help me heal. I have now taken on the role of chairperson of the Adult RE Committee, and this is not current. This is old. Like we're talking 2020. Okay, so a lot has changed between then and now. So I took the role of chairperson of the Adult RE Committee, which was an honor. So I'm going to now speak past tense because I'm reading to you now currently, but in my book it's past tense or current. I'm sorry, it's current. I was asked by the church to share my testimony in the new member section of their testimony on video, which was shown to hundreds of members during Pledge Week. I could honestly say UU has reshaped my faith and relationship with going to church. It didn't feel like church to me. It wasn't stuffy, like I don't know, Catholic churches are so boring. A Catholic mass is just like, it just feels dead, and just, you sit down, you kneel, you stand, you sit down, you kneel, you sing. Like, it just was weird. It was so unemotional and not exciting. The Christian church was pretty lively and exciting, but I still felt disconnected, and a little judgy. But the UU church, like, it was like a party every Sunday. It was like a gathering. It was a beautiful moment, that that I don't know. It just didn't feel like church. The music was vibing, and like people were alive, like from all ages. Like, and it was so loving, so loving. Um, so let's see here. I have finally found those with the same open religious mind as I have. So, yeah, I'm not very religious at all. I'm very spiritual, just not religious. I don't like a box or a doctrine or something to follow. Like love, the UU church was about love. Love was their doctrine. So I like that. Love, that's nice. I can get into that, but you give me structure and religious and all this condemnation and shit. No. Um, so it was quite refreshing, as I felt I was at home where I belong. Hang on, I'm going to close the drapes or blinds. He goes. I also completed, so this is 2020. I also completed psychotherapy with a mental therapist from Kaiser. Over the course of 6 months, I underwent homework to work on personal issues I wanted to face and address. So I chose this. I wanted to get through the anger that I was feeling over my dad's loss. I wanted to learn why, I couldn't have, truly healthy relationships. And I just really wanted to understand and heal and face my demons, face my demons. I now understand emotions and the power behind them. I grew to respect the emotion of anger. I really did. I grew to understand and learn all about anger and the brain, and how if you just pause for like 2 seconds, that anger will dissipate like levels down. But it's an exercise. You have to exercise that reaction, and that you have to exercise that. It changed me and broadened my to a way to scientifically reason with and understand the anger. So I'm I'm a Virgo. I want to understand everything about it, and pinpoint all about why it happens, or how to be aware of the triggers. The triggers. That is still my saving grace, is to know the triggers. I was then released from psychotherapy by my mental therapist in January of 2021. It was a proud moment to hear the words, "You no longer need therapy, Cheyenne." Like, that meant a lot. I mean, I had proved myself that I'm a sane person. Yes, I'm emotional. We are human. I'm human. I don't understand why I should be judged any differently, but if I react in a way, well, that's how I react. And right or wrong, like, I'm still not a bad person. I'm just human, and I'm doing the best I can, just like the best that we all can. And I have been really ostracized and judged because of my emotions. And again, if you listen a few episodes back, I admitted that I have bipolar. So I have that to deal with. And then I have thyroid issues. So that doesn't really have anything to do with my behavior, but it has everything to do with how I feel. And also my regulatory system as a female especially. And so I constantly have to be responsible over that type of stuff. So I'm really proud of what I've overcome. And for the psychologist to say, you no longer need therapy, was just really, 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 it felt really, really good. Just like when the doctor said I had a beautiful brain, because I thought I was having headaches and I thought something was wrong. You have a beautiful brain. So I no longer need therapy. To hear that meant I am a healthy human being. I am capable of making good decisions. I am smart, and yet, although emotional, I am human. Also in January of 2021, I began a career at the County of Fresno in the Department of Social Services. My new role allowed me the opportunity to help citizens of Fresno County gain food stamps, bus tokens, bus passes, DMV vouchers for IDs, as well as other services to mothers with children and those that need job assistance. Finally, I landed my feet in an area where I can give back to others again, help others, and serve God's people. I am truly, truly one blessed individual. That job was so amazing. I had, for the first time, like a real like office space desk, even though it was like in a pod, but it was really nice, and it was fun helping everybody. They would come up, and I would just give them the services that they qualified for. However, that was short-lived. I think I was fired 6 months later. But I was fired. And so then I was on unemployment. And then now I am currently employed by the state of California, by the Foundation for California Community Colleges, helping families still gain food assistance, just $100 for the summer food assistance. And I've been working there ever since 2022. And by the grace of God, please, angels, universe, keep me employed forever. Because I love my job. I work from home. I make a great income. Too bad I spend it all on fun stuff. But I really am grateful for my job. My stepbrother told me once, Cheyenne, some people are lucky and that some people are blessed. You, Cheyenne, are blessed. I cannot explain it, but he speaks truth. I am gratefully blessed, and I am. I have been able to make it a recovering heroin addict for 21 years and go through relationships, jobs, death of my dad, whole bunch of crap, exiled from a church, and I'm still able to be here alive, sober, and not giving up. So I'm really happy. However, tragedies do not end, and life continues on its course, as always, with good times and bad. Unfortunately, as I close this book, my youngest male kitty, Star, is losing his life at age 13 years old and 5 months. Star lost his battle to old age and crossed over the rainbow on April 15, 2021. I am confident he was welcomed by Chester, Smiles, Mojo, and my father. So those are my other cats that I've had in my life, my dad. Taz and I have another angel looking over us now. However, now currently Taz has passed away. He passed away in June of 2023. He was about 15 years old. So these cats were with me right after rehab, right after my dad passed away. And it was really hard losing those cats. I now have 2 new kitties, a tortie, calico, female, Cleo, and an orange kitty, Rusty. They're about 2-3 years old. Here's a quote. Yesterday is history. Tomorrow is a mystery. Today is a gift. That is why it's called the present. That's a quote by Bill Keane, the It's something that actually was brought into my life by a friend, my former best friend of all my childhood, Milani. She would write that on hearts and presents that she would give us. Page 272, subchapter Looking Back Over My Life. I am amazed at how I already lived a whole life in just 30 years till 2007. So my addiction and everything, and 2007 was when I came home from rehab. So I celebrated my 30th birthday in rehab. So I was obviously at that age and reflecting back. I have survived multiple deaths of loved ones, not just family members and friends, but a very beloved parent, my father. I have seen the evils of cancer, both in a roommate and a father. I have lived a life on the streets and jails. I have cleared my record of all felony charges and DUIs. Yep, I was able to get felonies dropped. I was able to mark that box. You've never been convicted of a felony on any application and whatnot. So that was a big deal. I have had to file Chapter 11 bankruptcy. That was in my 20s. I was 21 and I was like $21,000 in debt, all the stupid credit cards. I escaped rape and sexual molestation in my drug addiction. I have been exposed to pornography and unwanted sexual advances from men. That was when I was a child with my birth mom. I have become a productive member of society again. I have an education that expands from Shakespearean literature to criminal psychology, including streetwise education. I definitely got schooled by the streets and jail. And my birth mom and all the people she exposed me to. And grandmother by my ugly grandfather. Yeah, and aunt. All of my birth mom's side of the family who exposed me to things I never should have been exposed to. I have traveled all over and across the United States. I've driven all the way to Illinois and back in a week. I've gone to Hawaii. I've been into Mexico. I've been into the Caribbean islands. That's it, really. I want to go to Europe. I want to go to Australia. I have battled a drug addiction that entailed a total of 10 years from 1995. First drug was probably pot, alcohol, pot, and then crank. It was crank before it turned into meth. To 2005, I left heroin. So that's the last drug, and cocaine. I have survived multiple hospital scares, 2, multiple car accidents, 3 at the time. I've been in more than that. I have such a crash ratio. And multiple possible overdoses. Yes, I've almost overdosed a dozen times. I have defeated hepatitis C. And when I say I defeated hepatitis C, I say it's the doctors have said it's untraceable. So my liver's healthy again, but I can't give blood. I tried to give blood and it came up a radar and I can't give blood. I thought I could, but maybe that's ignorant of me. I'm sorry, but when you say it's untraceable, I thought it was untraceable. Like I'm okay. And actually, no, I asked my doctor. I think I asked my doctor too. I'm like, is it okay? But anyways, they denied me, so that's okay. It hurt anyways, and I did not like having that needle stay in my arm for that freaking long and watch the blood. It was really, really traumatic being a former IV drug user. That wasn't my cup of tea. And it was one of those paid blood donation places where you get paid a little bit. And I was like, this isn't worth it. This is not worth it. And I can't do it anyway. So bye-bye. But I have defeated hepatitis C. It's untraceable and it still is untraceable. Knock on wood. It's untraceable. I have lost an unborn child, Shelby Dawn. So I had an abortion, and I named the child. I don't know why I didn't pick a male name, but I just thought of Shelby Dawn at the time because my dad was alive at the time. Well, not, well, he was alive when I had my abortion. And so after my abortion, I named it. And I thought Shelby Dawn because that was what I was supposed to be named if my dad had his way of naming me. But my birth mother insisted on Cheyenne. Shy-Ann. It's now changed to Cheyenne, the Indian way, and then Michelle, my middle name. I've lost 3 animal children. Smiles, Chester, and Mojo. Those were my kitties. Chester and Smiles were my kitties when I was in college, and I had a condo and living it up. And I got in trouble with my drug addiction, and my parents sent me to a rehab and said that if you don't finish the rehab, you're never coming back to your condo, and your cats are going into a shelter. And I left the rehab, and they sent my cats to a shelter, and I lost everything. That was when I started living on the streets. Mojo was my kitty cat when my last boyfriend, Mark, before my last rehab, Mark and I went on the run. We had a kitty cat, little black cat, and Mojo was arrested with us. He got taken to the SPCA and then adopted out. So he did go to a good home. I have survived physical, emotional, and mental abuse, both during childhood and adulthood. I have endured abandonment, rejection, betrayal, and heartbreak. I have experienced pure love from a family full of life. That's my dad and my step family. And I mean, literally, it was so wonderful. Like the picture perfect family. Stability, religion, freedom, security, and happiness. I have been banned by family and friends, close to being banished by the law, like I almost went to prison, and excommunicated by a sorority. Yep, I was partying too much and not doing my grades and holding up my duties to stay in the house, so they kicked me out. It's not my first rodeo. I have walked away from God and lived in hell only to return to him and now live in heaven. And what I mean by that was like, I literally walked away from God. I was like, I don't really believe that you're all that, and I don't care, and I'm just going to do my thing. And I still had a conscience though, of right and wrong, good and evil, but it sent me down to the pits of hell, literally. And then when I say only to return to him and live in heaven, is my life is a whole lot better. My life got so much better once I got sober and went through that last rehab for 2 years. And once I surrendered and just gave myself time to recover and get myself back, it was heaven. And it still is a type of heaven. I don't have the most riches of life and the most perfect of life, but every day I still say to myself, I am grateful for what I have. I'm grateful for my apartment. I'm grateful for this desk. I'm grateful for my job. I'm grateful for this view, and this tree outside. So I have been the worst of the worst drug addicts and thieves, as society would like to call me. I have received the greatest forgiveness and redemption ever from God, family, friends, and society. So after 2007 to current, I'm going to try and keep it as current, all the way to March of this year. I have saved and rescued hundreds of animals. That was when I was an animal control officer, back in 2007, almost 2008. I have hired and given a future to thousands of people. That was when I was HR at UPS for 7 years. I gave a wonderful future to so many people, and they are making so much better money than I am. And I look at them, I'm like, something's wrong with this picture. I have been there for my family and friends again. So when I came home from rehab, I was there for my family. I was there for my dad. I was there for my step family. I was there for my friends. I mean, I was the part. I was the person who was not going to relapse, come back, and be who I was, before my addiction. I have imaginable. I've had a hellacious childhood on my birth side, things a child should never experience, but it grew me up very fast, very fast. I kept my promise to my father to never return to drugs, to keep living for him and making him proud. If you read my book, you will read that I promised my dad to his face just before he passed because the Spirit of God told me, Cheyenne, you need to say your last goodbyes. And so I did. And he cried and he acknowledged and knew what I was talking about. And it was the most beautiful, magical moment that he and I could ever have had. He was able to then pass, like I just know it. He was able to pass with peace, and I'm able to live with the knowing that I've kept that promise to him. And it makes me feel good every single freaking day that I am not back out on the streets shooting drugs or dead of an overdose or locked up in prison. I have accomplished my dream to one day write my story. So this was a dream that happened in rehab. I started manifesting because prophecy was spoken, saying by priests in my rehab, they were saying, Cheyenne, you're going to write a book someday. I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about, but it started to spark and it was like a dream. I'm like, yeah, I would like to write a book. I have become an active member of the UU Church of Fresno, helping strengthen social justice for citizens in my community. So that part has actually come to an end here suddenly this year. I served and led 7 years, but I was kicked out. I was unfortunately kicked out this January of 2026. If you want more detail, you can catch the episode in my podcast streaming of episodes. You can catch the one of how to respond when your church kicks you out. I'm not going to go into detail, but it was the whole thing was just really, 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 I feel like really unjust. And I will go to my grave wanting the evidence and the answers because I don't feel I deserve the charges and accusations they brought forth. And I still believe I deserved love and an opportunity to make it right with my opponent who was accusing me of these things. And it was just really, really hard. And it still is very hard sometimes. There's like PTSD moments and memories that come back. And I have to deal with them. And they're far few in between. They're lessening, but it's just, I never saw that coming. I have been kicked out of so many things in my life, but I never thought I would get kicked out of a church. Like men have left me. I haven't left them, but they've left me. Even a paralyzed guy, he left me, but never have I been kicked out of a church. I mean, that's a good one for a resume, for a life resume. She was kicked out of a church, maybe for my funeral. So these are the things. And she was kicked out of a church. I don't know. I can only laugh about it. I have cried way too much. I'm moving on, but so that whole statement is so far from reality of what's current now. But it was really, really beautiful being a part of that church for 7 years and serving. Like, no one would have thought I would have been that active in a church. Like, you would have never told me the young Cheyenne, you're going to be this active in a church. I would have said, you are freaking crazy. You will never find me in a church. So, but it taught me a lot. It brought me back to my spiritual self. I have a whole new spiritual connection to God, the universe, nature, animals, life, just everything. So everything happens for a reason, and I'm not going to fight it. Obviously, I'm not going back. I'm not going back. They kicked me out. Um, I lost my beloved cats, Taz, almost 17 years, and Star, almost 15 years. They were with me since losing my father and gave me the greatest years of joy, love, and happiness that any animal mom could ask for. These cats were so cool. I mean, they traveled with me from Visalia to Fresno. They would go outside, not on a leash, and stay in the yard. And they fetched. They also fetched. I taught them how to fetch, like a little ball, and they'd bring it back. They were great cats. Thank you for all the memories that I hold close to my heart. I now have Cleo and Rusty. So, like I said, I have the Tortie and the orange cat. I have unfortunately also lost my step family. So, since writing this book, my step family decided to have issues. Unexplainable. Like they didn't ever explain why or what. And they just stopped talking to me. I tried to get answers and they didn't want anything to do with me. Then my stepsister got really ugly and started calling me names that are definitely not allowed, such as my birth mom and you were Debbie and you were your birth mom, like just really mean. So this little paragraph, I have unfortunately also lost my stepfamily, family, and best friends shortly after this book was published. For unknown reasons, they no longer wanted to be supportive people in my life. So for unknown reasons, literally, my stepmom, my stepsister, my stepbrother, who were in my life ever since I was 5. My best friend, Milani, who's been in my life ever since I was 5. And Jen, who were really close friends in my last rehab. Just poof, poof. Bye, Cheyenne. And no explanation. So I have 21 years sober, for which I never thought I would have 1 hour. Like in my addiction, I couldn't even see an hour sober. It was so bad. But now I have 21 years. So every January, I celebrate a year because my birthday, I was arrested in the winter of 2004. So I just chalk it up as 1/1/2005 because in 2005 was when I was granted by the judge to go into the rehab New Life for Girls, which was a 2-year program that got my life back together, sent off to Pennsylvania, and came back to my dying father. So that was in 2007. So my sobriety date is 2005. So I have 21 years sober from heroin and cocaine. Now I do enjoy a glass of wine every now and then, and I am supportive of 420, but those have not led me backwards. They're just, like I said, I'm a normal functioning human being again. The doctors have claimed it, and I'm claiming it, and I am responsible, and I can handle that. And it's not leading me back to a relapse. Not everybody can do that. So don't follow in my steps. You have to decide for your own self if you are an addict in recovery and trying to stay abstinent from all things. You know, everybody's recovery, sobriety, life, whatever you want to call it, is their own. Do not make it somebody else's or compare it to somebody else's. You are your own person and you know what your limits are, what you're capable of, what your relapse, your triggers, all of that stuff. So I am not encouraging you to follow in my footsteps, but I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to fake and be a liar to anybody, because I know if anybody was watching me 100% sober, they're going to be like, you're a liar. And I'm not a liar. I'm not a liar. So there it is. And that's what I'm sticking to it. So I work for the state of California, helping families and students get summer assistance. Like I said, I love my job. And so here I am living life on my own, finding myself again, and finished my autobiography book. It may not reach bestseller or even make much money. The real value is in the therapy this book has provided me and still provides me. Like, I just went up to Mendocino and did a wedding, and I share my story just pretty open. Like, I had a bad mom and a good dad, and I have 21 years sober, and I've overcome a lot of demons, and dragonflies are an amazing insect that can go in all directions. So I just go from there, and people are so receptive, so receptive. So that's the value. That's the value that I find. Yes, the sales are nice. Yes, it's wonderful when you think about people buying your book and reading it and relating, and like, what are their experiences going to be like? It's really, really neat. The connection. I mean, I can't tell you. That's where the riches is. If you want to be an author to be a millionaire, you're in the wrong field. I've been able to pour it out and release all the secrets. It is a beautiful thing to realize how much you have changed, and I have come full circle to a place of real happiness, sense of belonging, and a driven purpose to help others. Now I travel throughout the city of Fresno, where practically every corner I have visited in my addiction or childhood, I know this town like the back of my hand. And I've done really bad things in a lot of parts of this town, but they no longer trigger me to the point where I got to relapse or I got to go over to the west side and get some drugs again. Like, it's not like that. It's really, and I prayed, and I remember in my rehab, I would pray over those places, and I would say, please release the power that it has over my brain. Like, and I would just pray and just put it out there. And sure enough, it doesn't have any effect on me anymore. If anything, it shows me how far I've come. It's amazing. Now I travel throughout the city. I know it's telling by my hand. Sometimes it overwhelms me that I made it out while so many didn't, haven't, or will never be able to escape the world of addiction. Yeah, there were girls that I got close to in my rehab that didn't make it. Like one, Sherry, I saw her, an alcoholic, shivering outside a store one year. And I was like, oh, man. So not a lot of people are successful in rehab. It's really sad. Sometimes it overwhelms me that I made it out while so many didn't. I often ask God, why me? Perhaps I will never know, but I do know one thing. I cannot waste this life. I must be grateful for this life and live a little more for my dad. I remember all the people I've met along my journey, good or bad, and I hope they are still alive and sober. I am filled with gratitude as to how God has brought me to such a position today. He has truly been by my side, always carrying me and protecting me. I owe all that I have and all that I am to God. I am not Catholic or Christian any longer, but I do find value in a few scriptures that helped me along the way. I will leave you with a few of my favorite scriptures from the Bible that I stood upon. Um, this is Jeremiah 29:11, which is a famous one. I love this one. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future. Wow. Wow. Like, wow. You can just imagine more on that. Like, how beautiful. Isaiah 40:31. This is also one of my favorites. But those who have hope in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles. They will run and not grow weary. They will walk and not be faint. So that just is so encouraging and so powerful. And if you think about the image of eagles, like it's amazing how coming home, the bird is like my spirit animal. And like my trip this past weekend up to Mendocino into Redding, I must have saw probably 4 or 5 dozen brown hawks flying around California, all around the mountain regions. Like that many. Like, I don't know how many of you notice birds as you're driving, but I noticed them all over. So I know they were guiding me the whole entire trip. The whole entire trip. And giving me strength to drive so far all by myself. But that's just a beautiful, like, warm hug to just keep going and never give up. And then Romans 8:28, for we know that all things work together for the good to those who love God, to those who are called according to his purpose. That is just like, he's going to be there. He's going to help you. He's going to work it all out. And all things work together. So I often, when things don't happen for whatever reason, and things like I was really sad being kicked out of the church. I had suicidal thoughts. I was going nuts, but I still in the back of my mind was thinking, there's got to be a purpose for this. There's got to be a reason. As one door closes, another one opens, right? So I was like, and I was thinking on all these scriptures that I learned in the 2 years in my last rehab, New Life for Girls. So we are finished. Oh my gosh, it's 8:01. All right, 277, conclusion. Today, a hummingbird visits the feeder just outside my apartment, which is hung under the eave, which is gnarly because this is way back in 2020 when I wrote this book and published it. And I still have hummingbirds out underneath my apartment. Everywhere I go, I always have 3 hummingbirds, feeders, and they come and feed, and I love them. They're just so magical. And then even this year, I had a mama make a little nest in the tree with 2 babies. So I think they're out there. They just don't know what to do. They're learning. But it's interesting that my book is like full circle, and I'm still, it's still true today. Today, the hummingbirds are feeding. My wind chimes make their music. I still have my wind chimes. As the wind blows, she, which is a hummingbird, is perched on the feeder ever so delicately drinking from it. She flies to the wrought iron flower arrangement that is mounted on my screen door. In her vibrant beauty, she examines the flowers and flutters away. It is fall, although now it's spring. And the leaves are transforming into their bright orange and yellow colors to fill the city streets with. Everything is preparing for winter. The squirrels are gathering their nuts. People are gathering wood for their fire at night to keep warm. And the holidays are approaching with the new year soon to begin. So when I was finishing this book, it must have been, I don't know, October, November-ish. Life is an interesting gift given to us by our Creator God. We can fight it all the way, or we can accept it and simply embrace all the good times and bad. I have definitely experienced both. Every day is a new day to begin again. With each breath comes an opportunity to tell someone how you feel, something positive, or just be a listening ear to them. Every one of us is fighting a battle of some kind or has fought a battle. In the end, we are all still beautiful human beings. In the end, we are still connected to each other in this huge and amazing world that we live in. I look forward to the next chapters of my life. I have no idea where I will go from here, but I trust that God will guide me in the right direction. He hasn't failed me yet, and I'm able to say that even losing my dad. So it took a lot for me to be able to say that, because I was really mad at God. I was really disappointed at God. I was really like I gave up my life for you for 2 years and followed you and believed in you. And prayed to you and then I come home and you take my dad? So me and God worked out a lot. And I can still say that he's never left me. He's always been there for me, and I owe everything to my relationship to God. And if you don't believe in God, then some whatever higher power beyond yourself. But he hasn't failed me yet. I mean, disappointed. Disappointed. Yes, he disappointed me by taking my father, but truly he hasn't failed me. I have complete faith in my future. I stand on his promises to provide a path for me, and I will walk it. I will continue to hold my head high, keep loving myself, knowing who I am in God, and believing and standing in his truth. And that is the end. We are done with Dragonflies and Demons chapter reading podcast session. So I appreciate you supporting me and listening, and I hope you enjoy these sessions, and I hope that you'll enjoy the next new season, which is going to be, actually, it's funny that we end on scriptures, but it's going to be these reflections and just reflections on these little wisdom cards that, well, they're scripture, but I call them wisdom cards because there's a lot of wisdom with scripture. But I'm going to pull out a couple out of this jar and reflect on it, share on it, and hopefully you'll enjoy. I hope you enjoy. I'm hoping to get more guests on to my show as well. And we will continue this next season. It's going to be actually season 4 for Dragonfly Discussions podcast. This is season 4. So I've been podcasting since 2024, and I am just delighted that I have people watching. So with that, good night. I won't take up too much more of your night, and have a wonderful week. Have a wonderful weekend, and we will see you next Tuesday. Catch my book anywhere on Google search, Amazon, Barnes & Noble. Bye.